Jetstream Sam versus Senator Armstrong and Hammerhead 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 and Hammerhead. Well, I can't say that this was entirely unexpected that our final bout in this DLC would be with the infamous Senator Armstrong, but what I didn't was the fact that without a competent parrying system, this fight is almost impossible to beat on a first try, and if I'm not mistaken, there is an achievement for this fight to take it on completely without taking damage. No. Now, this fight starts by taking Jetstream Sam up to the helipad on the roof of World Marshal HQ where we fought Sundowner in the main game where we meet Senator Armstrong ready to take Jetstream Sam through his final interview for the job he's going to offer Jetstream. This incorporates Senator Armstrong stealing power from all the military vehicles around the building, transforming him into the iron-skinned Hulk that we already know far too well. During the battle, Armstrong hasn't changed that much, but the arena where the battle takes place makes this battle incredibly difficult, being such a small space, and the fact that some of his attacks are homing makes this a lot harder. Especially when he's incorporated a flaming dash punch into his already ungainly repertoire.
Falcon Punch!
He still uses lava in half of his attacks, but thankfully he's eliminated the pillar throwing from his utility belt. Now, by Armstrong's self, he would be a manageable, if not still challenging, final boss, but the main issue of this fight is again Jetstream's unusable parry system. Armstrong's multiple strikes, because of their varied timing between kicks and punches, it's incredibly difficult to block his, for a lack of a better term, can't be parried along with his lava surging attacks, so all of his attacks are either incredibly difficult or impossible to parry, and never mind that he can deal between 12 and 20% for every blow he gets on the guy, which is often since he can't block. Now, while the fight itself is almost equally as difficult as the one against Raiden, here's my main problem with the deal. How do you take one of the most infamously awful pieces of plot in gaming history and fuck it up? I'm seriously asking because somehow the developers took a story that was pure anti-build-up that earned a 0 and made it worse. His main game appearance had him declaring his goals of a world that meets the needs of the individual, of a return to free will and the destruction of stupid idealism. It didn't make any sense whatsoever, and his appearance was a pure Deus Ex Machina from start to finish, but you take out all of the swagger and the pure grade dumbassery that made it interesting and filled it entirely with boring shit, since the only reason that this fight is happening is because Senator Armstrong needs to personally test Jetstream Sam in order to join Desperado, something which he never wanted to do. This time the story is going to earn points because it at least makes sense, but this fight is about 5 times worse than what the first one had going for it, since all the interest has been destroyed in a matter of minutes with the pre-fight cutscene lasting a whole minute and change, 70% of which was just watching Armstrong power up, but somehow they did it and fucked up the bulletproof boss of this game. The only thing worse than having this boss fail and living up to its own standard was the ending scene of this fight where Jetstream is still getting the crap beaten out of him, but he started learning about Armstrong's ability and how to exploit it. It ends with Jetstream managing to slash off one of Armstrong's hands, and instead of doubling over and giving him the upper hand, pardon the pun, he instead uses the arm stuff with his nanomachines to stab Jetstream through his chest for a non-fatal wound. At this point, I suggest that you try and keep up, because this is where the curveballs come in. So Jetstream Sam, bleeding on the helipad from the giant stab wound Armstrong just gave him, decides to join Desperado after Armstrong 30 seconds later offers him the job and they both start laughing. You know, developers, now I gave you some latitude when I did the Metal Gear Ray review previously, but here that extension is gone from me because this is simple scripting failures, especially in a DLC that clocked in at about 2 hours at best. You couldn't have given us a concrete reason why Sam joined Desperado, because this conclusion to prove Jetstream's backstory could not have ended so jarringly to the point where it makes absolutely no logic. You couldn't have given us a short thought sentence explaining that maybe Jetstream joined them so that he could get his arm fixed and actually live on with an obligation to them. It's an inexcusable ending that exists in its current state just to support the main game no matter what. This is the exact reason why people hated the Star Wars prequel movies, because the movie's main goal was just to connect the dots using whatever contrived bullshit they could put out there to have some semblance of connectivity for the canon. It doesn't even have to make sense because the ultimate purpose is complete. There's just 2 more things that I don't get from this DLC. One is that in the post-fight cutscene from this one, it's shown that Jetstream's sword can't cut through Armstrong's nanomachines, and yet that's the main reason why Raiden switched swords to take him on. So that doesn't make sense. And the second thing is what happens after the credits roll, because it shows the first appearance of Jetstream Sam, and this would make perfect sense as a closer, except that the last screen of this segment is a to be continued in Metal Gear Rising. This DLC was made post-game. Why would you be using it as an advertisement to sell the game after the fact? Although Armstrong can breathe a sigh of relief because that doesn't affect how his fight turned out. So here are the scores for his second appearance. Well, with Jetstream and Bladewell both finishing their DLC, the only thing left is the final game review, and it's been a long time coming as well. So I'll see you next time as we finish up this monster of a game, and as always, I wish you all a victory for gamers.